I couldn't get bit. And I really felt like the water was too cold to throw a floating worm. It was like 51. You know, it had cooled off. But for some reason, I put on a floating worm. And I started throwing it around a little bit and pitching it around. I mean, I wasn't getting hardly any bites. But as I picked that thing up and I jerked it by one little old stop, and I was letting it sink way out of sight. And I went to hit, I'm like, holy, that's a bite, you know? And I picked up, and sure enough, my line was cutting off. Well, I shook that fish off. I went a little bit further, and I went back to flipping. Flipped for an hour and a half, 2 hours, didn't have another bite. And then I saw another one of those little isolated, dead pieces of water willow. I threw back at that methylate floating worm, twisted by there, and guess I got another bite. So the water was cold. It was definitely pre-spawn. And the other thing was, there was no way I was going to see a bass on a bed anyway, right? It's stained. So use that thing as a search bait in the pre-spawn. My favorite time to use the bait, well, let's go to spawn too. Okay, let's talk about spawning fish, right? If I'm going down a bank and I'm seeing them, I don't need to throw a floating worm, right? You don't need to. You don't want to. I don't even want to be, I mean, yeah, I might throw it between fish that I know are there. But then, you know, if the fish is on a bed and I see him on a bed, most likely I'm going to flip 50-pound braid and a big weight and I'm going to catch him. But when I'm going in that stained water, they're either on it or they're not. So for y'all that saw that, you saw that the World Championship that watched Major League Fishing. That when I was laying in bed and I knew, you know, when you do that, you don't know where you're going. Everybody knows that, right? That's true. We don't know where we're going. All I know is I'm in group 1, and these are the guys. I find out that night in the meeting who I'm fishing against. It was VanDam, Iaconelli. I mean, everybody was, you know, it's all the guys you don't want to fish against, right? And so I'm laying in there in bed and I'm thinking, geez, I mean, it's the World Championship. I didn't want to drive all the way here and get knocked out, right? That's what's so bad about Major League Fishing. You drive all that way and you get one day. You get 3 periods to make it happen. And man, it sucks not to catch them, right? Do you like it? It's no fun, is it? How fun would it be not to catch them when you know the other guys are doing it? You know, if you go out in a tournament, you ever been in a tournament fishing and you think it's tough and you're thinking all day long, it's kind of tough. I don't think they're catching them. And then you go into weigh-in, everybody's got 20 pounds and you got the little bag that's going like that. We've all been there, right? But in Major League Fishing, you just know you're getting your head throttled the whole time. So it's really bad for me because I'm not built that way. It's a confidence thing for me. I need a lot of confidence, right?
I think you're doing a good job.
Well, thanks, buddy. I got one pulling for me right here. So I'm laying in bed last night and I'm thinking, all right, somehow or another, I got to figure out how to beat VanDam. I got to figure out how to beat Iaconelli. I got to figure out how to beat Hackney. I got to figure out how to beat these guys. And I'm thinking in my mind, what? Okay, I don't know if these fish are. I know the time of year. I know there should be some fish probably spawning. There may be done. I don't know. And I was laying in there. You know, I packed that boat just full of junk. I mean, I had 35 rods in there and thinking of everything that I ever thought I could catch a bass on. I got buzz baits on. I got a Carolina rig on. I don't know. I got 4 spinning rods. I got everything. I don't know where we're going. There may be smallmouth where we're going. So I'm laying there in bed. It's 1:30 in the morning. And I got a bolt of lightning come through my head. You ever get those brain flashes? And I thought, floating worm. And I thought, God, I hope I have some. I got up. I started to just go out in my underwear, and I knew that'd be bad. So I threw on a shirt and threw on and ran out in some flip flops, and I went to digging through my truck. I'm not near as organized as Christy is. He's got all the fancy stuff. But if you look up my truck out there right now, you seen that big rod coffin thing he has on the top of his truck where he puts all those rods? He and Edwin have them, so I bought one. Huh? Works for those guys. I'm gonna get one too, right? And those drawer things, I just built one of those. I'm gonna get organized. So I go out there and I just start going through Tupperwares. and I found like 4 bags of methylate floating worms. Because I know if I hadn't have got up then, I'd forgot them. And I put them in there, and I remember when you get in that major league fishing, you start, and you do your drive around and all that, and you're all amped up, and you're thinking, all right, hope I picked right, and I stop. And man, I picked up one rod, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. Picked up, and I didn't lay my floating worm. Never lay your float. If you think of float worms a deal, now this is important to write down. Don't put it on your deck. You can't. There's no mistaking a methylate float worm, right? Never let anybody see that bait because it just glows. Everybody will know. So I kept it in my rod box, and I pulled it out, and man, they're like, all right, countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So I start throwing it, and I went about 30 yards and I caught him. First fish of the day. So I caught the first bass in Major League Fishing World Championship history in the first round. But right then, when that fish bit that floating worm, I knew it was their butts. You know why? Because I knew probably there weren't, if they had that worm, it was probably in their truck. You know what I'm saying? They'd have it the next day, but they wouldn't have it. So when we talk about rigging a floating worm, there's really 2 colors I like.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.